Unity and harmony of the path factors. As mentioned above, the objective of right concentration, Samma Samadhi, is to act as the domain of practice for wisdom, to make the mind the most suitable environment for spiritual qualities to work in unison in order to realize the truth, to eliminate mental impurity, and to reach the state that is completely free from suffering. It was described earlier how the 8 factors of the path act in harmony and are mutually supportive, with right view acting as the leader. Here we can conclude that the first 7 path factors help to generate, support and reinforce concentration, giving rise to right concentration, which can be applied effectively according to one's needs. Concentration yields results and furthers one's practice, leading at the final stage to 2 more factors, right knowledge, samayana, and right liberation, samavimiti. The Buddha refers to these 7 path factors as requisites of concentration, samaparikahara. They are the elements, the accompanying conditions, the supports and the determinants of concentration. Concentration possessed of these requisites is referred to as noble right concentration, Ariya Samasamadhi, which leads to the final goal. The Blessed One who knows and sees, accomplished and fully enlightened, has well proclaimed the 7 requisites of concentration for the cultivation and the perfection of right concentration. What are these 7? They are right view, right thought, right speech, right action, right livelihood, right effort, right mindfulness. That one-pointedness of mind surrounded by these 7 factors is called the Noble Right Concentration, with its basis Upanisaya, support, foundation, and requisites. When there is right view, right thought is suitable for action. When there is right thought, right speech is suitable for action. When there is right speech, right action is suitable for action. When there is right action, right livelihood is suitable for action. When there is right livelihood, right effort is suitable for action. When there is right effort, right mindfulness is suitable for action. When there is right mindfulness, right concentration is suitable for action. When there is right concentration, right knowledge is suitable for action. When there is right knowledge, right liberation is suitable for action. When the Eightfold Path, Atangika Marga, has been developed to the point of completion, an instant occurs which all of the path factors function in unison, giving rise to profound knowledge and a realization of truth, and eliminating the defilements which overlay and depress the mind. This occurrence in which the path factors function concurrently is specifically called the path magga, because in this instant all the path factors are truly integrated. When the path operates in this way, there are resulting fruits, phala, namely knowledge of the truth, release from mental defilement, and freedom from suffering. If everything proceeds in order, there are 4 occasions or stages in which the path operates in a potent or conclusive fashion, referred to as the 4 paths. In the same way, there are 4 fruits. Collectively, they are called the 4 Noble Paths, Ariya Magga, and the 4 Noble Fruits, Ariya Phala, i.e. the path of stream entry, the fruit of stream entry, the path of once returning, the path of once the fruit of once returning, the path of non-returning, the fruit of non-returning, the path of arahantship, and the fruit of arahantship. In reference to its 8 factors, this combination of the path is called the Eightfold Path. In reference to practical application or to active functionality, which has 4 stages, it is called the 4 Paths, Katu Maga. The joint operation of spiritual factors in a single mind moment, bringing desired results to completion, is referred to in the scriptures as harmony of spiritual qualities, Dhamma Samaggi. This harmony of spiritual qualities is equivalent to awakening, Bodhi. It is not only the 8 path factors which act in unison during this single moment of the path, but the 37 factors of enlightenment, Bodhi Pakkiyadhamma, do so as well. In any case, the 37 enlightenment factors can all be distilled into the 8 factors of the path. For this reason, when the term path is used, this necessarily incorporates related spiritual qualities. One may raise the question of how it is that several path factors can operate in a single instance, especially one may ask how the factors related to moral conduct, like right speech and right action, are involved in such a situation. To answer these questions, let us look at the comparable example of someone who is able to fire a rifle or shoot an arrow with great accuracy. On the occasion of an archery competition, we see this individual gain victory by hitting the bullseye, and he accomplishes this deed in a single instant. A superficial glance may lead to the conclusion that this person simply has a steady hand, and one will leave it at that. But a deeper inspection of the causes and conditions for the steady hand and the accuracy of the shot in that instant may reveal a long period of training before this event. This person is trained in developing correct posture by focusing on the position of the entire body, the feet, the legs, the arms, and the shoulders. He is trained in how to properly grasp the weapon, taking aim, estimating distance, and finding the right balance of strength. He has sharpened his wits, developed resourcefulness and resolve, and strengthened concentration until there arose skill and proficiency, an ability to shoot instantly, and a feeling that the action happens automatically and effortlessly. We must take into consideration all of these factors which have reached completion when we witness this person display such accuracy. It is the sum total of physical equipoise and competence, self-assurance, concentration, and mental dexterity. In other words, all the factors of physical fitness, mental preparedness and maturity, understanding and sound judgment function together when shooting the arrow in that single moment. In retrospect, the physical capability, mental capability, and wisdom capability in that moment are the fruits of a lengthy training. The ability to shoot the arrow accurately is the result of months and years of practice. This matter is related to the differences between individual practitioners, especially in regard to the level of proficiency or potency of their spiritual faculties. Some people attain results easily with only a little amount of training. Others train for a long time before attaining results, but their practice proceeds with ease. Others, meanwhile, must train for both a long time and with great difficulty before reaching success. And finally, some people, no matter how much they train, are incapable of attaining success. Besides the inherent differences between people, spiritual attainments and the speed of such attainments depend on other factors, in particular the correctness of a specific spiritual practice. The presence of a good guide or teacher is referred to as a virtuous friend, Kalyanamitta, a person's physical state of health, and the person's physical environment. The Buddha classified 4 different ways of practice, patipada, leading to spiritual accomplishment. 1. A person practices with difficulty and gains higher knowledge, abhinya, slowly, dukkha, patipada, abhinya. 2. A person practices with difficulty but gains higher knowledge quickly, dukkha, patipada, kippa, abhinya. 3. A person practices with ease but gains higher knowledge slowly, sukha, patipada, danda, abhinya. 4. A person practices with ease and gains higher knowledge quickly, sukha, patipada, kippa, abhinya. Concentration, too, is a factor determining the level of difficulty in practice and the speed in which a person attains knowledge. It was mentioned earlier how a Dhamma practitioner may develop insight at once by relying on only a rudimentary level of concentration, and this person may even realize the final goal of knowledge of the destruction of the taints, asava kaya yana. Someone who first develops concentration and attains concentrative absorption, jhana, however, is able to build a firm foundation for the development of insight. This is made more clear in the context of the 4 ways of practice mentioned above. A person who has attained the 4 jhanas is described as practicing with ease, sukha, patipada. As for someone who practices the meditation on foulness, the perception on loathsomeness of food, or the recollection on death, which only lead to the first jhana, or to access concentration, his practice will be arduous and less cheerful, dukkha, patipada. The following teachings by the Buddha describe ways of practice in which the 37 factors of enlightenment are linked to the 8 factors of the path. From a superficial perspective, these practices may appear easy. It is true that for someone who is prepared, they are easy, but for someone who is unprepared, they are difficult, and such a person may have to engage in many other practices before he or she is ready. Bhikkhus, when one knows and sees the I as it actually is, when one knows and sees forms, eye consciousness, eye contact, the feeling of pleasure or pain, or neither pain nor pleasure, that arises with eye contact as condition, then one is not infatuated by the eye, forms, etc. When one abides uninfatuated, unfettered, unbegilded, discerning danger, then the 5 aggregates of clinging reach a state of no further growth, and one's craving, which leads to renewed existence, is accompanied by delight and lust, nandiraga, and pursues various sense impressions, is abandoned. One's bodily and mental troubles, one's bodily and mental torments, one's bodily and mental passions are abandoned, and one experiences bodily and mental pleasure. The view of a person such as this is right view. His intention is right intention. His effort is right effort. His mindfulness is right mindfulness. His concentration is right concentration. And his bodily action, his verbal action, and his livelihood have already been well purified from the start. In this way, the Noble Eightfold Path comes to fulfillment and completion for him. When he develops this Noble Eightfold Path, the 4 foundations of mindfulness also come to fulfillment and completion. The 4 right efforts, the 4 paths to success, the 5 spiritual faculties, the 5 spiritual powers, the 7 factors of enlightenment also come to fulfillment and completion. These 2 things, serenity and insight, occur in him joined evenly together. He fully understands by direct knowledge those things that should be understood by direct knowledge. He abandons by direct knowledge those things that should be abandoned by direct knowledge. He develops by direct knowledge those things that should be developed by direct knowledge. He realizes by direct knowledge those things that should be realized by direct knowledge. And what things should be fully understood by direct knowledge? The answer to that is the 5 aggregates of clinging, the material form aggregate affected by clinging, the feeling aggregate affected by clinging, the perception aggregate affected by clinging, the volitional formations aggregate affected by clinging, the consciousness aggregate affected by clinging. And what things should be abandoned by direct knowledge? Ignorance and craving for existence. And what things should be developed by direct knowledge? Serenity and insight. And what things should be realized by direct knowledge? True knowledge and deliverance. In relation to some of the qualities described in this chapter, the following teaching by the Buddha presents a summary of all things. Monks, being questioned by those wandering ascetics of another persuasion, you should reply as follows. Friends, 1. All things are rooted in desire, Chanda Mulaka. 2. All things have attention as their source for existence, Manasikara Sambhava. 3. All things originate from contact, Passa Samudaya. 4. All things converge on feelings, Vedana Samosarana. 5. All things have concentration as leader, Samadhi Pamukha. 6. All things have mindfulness as governing principle, Sattadipataya. 7. All things have wisdom as pinnacle, Panuttara. 8. All things have liberation as essence, Vimuttisara. 9. All things merge into the deathless, Amatogada. 10. All things culminate in Nibbana, Nibbana Pariyosana. A similar passage states, Monks, a monk lives the holy life, Brahmacharya, with the training as its blessing, with wisdom as pinnacle, with liberation as essence, with mindfulness as a governing principle. And how does the holy life have the training as its blessing? Here I have laid down the training in virtuous conduct for disciples in this Dhamma and discipline for the sake of instilling faith in those who do not have faith, and of increasing faith in those in the faithful. In whatever way I have laid down the training in virtuous conduct, those disciples practice and train in the training rules, so observing them fully, not in a defective, patchy or tainted way. Moreover, I have laid down the training in the principles of the holy life for the disciples for the sake of the complete and utter end of suffering. In whatever way I have laid down the training in the principles of the holy life, those disciples practice and train in the training rules, so observing them fully, not in a defective, patchy or tainted way. In this manner the holy life has the training as its blessing. And how does the holy life have wisdom as its pinnacle? I have taught the Dhamma to disciples for the sake of the complete and utter end of suffering. In whatever way I have taught the Dhamma, just so the disciples discern these teachings completely with wisdom. In this manner the holy life has wisdom as its pinnacle. And how does the holy life have liberation as its essence? I have taught the Dhamma to disciples for the sake of the complete and utter end of suffering. In whatever way I have taught the Dhamma, just so the disciples contact these teachings by way of liberation. In this manner, the holy life has liberation as its essence. And how does the holy life have mindfulness as its governing principle? Here disciples are well attentive and inwardly vigilant. Thus, I will cultivate and fulfill the training in virtuous conduct, which is yet incomplete, or else by way of wisdom. In these respects I will sustain the training in virtuous conduct, which is complete. I will cultivate and fulfill the training in the principles of the holy life, which is incomplete, or else by way of wisdom. In these respects I will sustain the training in the principles of the holy life, which is complete. I will completely examine and discern by way of wisdom in these respects those things that I have not yet completely discerned, or else by way of wisdom in these respects I will sustain the complete discernment of things. I will contact by way of liberation those things not yet contacted, or else by way of wisdom in these respects I will sustain the contact with such things. In this manner the holy life has mindfulness as its governing principle.